Hey, what's up, everybody? This is kind of like a family week edition of WFSO Wrestling Talk. So, I'm just interviewing friends and family and stuff like that. So, whoever I can get on this week. So, just thought that'd be interesting. And one way to kick off with my other half being on this. So, could be interesting, could be funny. Whatever we're gonna say off our mouth is gonna be crazy. So, just a fair warning. It could be parental advisory because of the language. So just letting you know about that up ahead. And now, without further ado, let's introduce to my better half. So just waiting for her to pop up. Although she's in the other room and I'm in here, so making more. Really? There ain't nothing wrong with supporting the Bucks, but I guess that was just like unexpected. Yeah, that could be true. Wait a minute. I think your mic isn't on.
Okay, there we go. Is that better?
Yep, way better.
All right.
So, this is gonna be awkward for me, like interview my other half. So this is gonna be crazy. So it's just mainly for everybody that's watching that we're it's just like a regular interview. It's like it may be a little bit wrestling involved, a little bit of personal things involved stuff too. So but I'm gonna let it go for her point of view of questions and stuff like that. So anything that's personal. So if you want to explain to everybody, how did we end up creating WFSO? So just let people know.
Oh my gosh. Sit down. Let me holler at you, play. Um, it was basically pretty soon after we first met, and we got together and everything, and we were, doing a lot of talking amongst ourselves as a group,
Yeah.
about what was going on in wrestling and how Monday Night Raw went and all this lot. And I remember we both were kind of like, well, perhaps we should start doing, videos that we can post up on YouTube and post up online and everything. And it started out with, let's go way back, it started out with MySpace.
Hmm.
Um, so we were kind of like, okay, let's do that. And that's how it started out. We were just reporting on what was going on wrestling wise for SmackDown and Raw and TNA, Ring of Honor. This was back when TNA was good. um, all those sorts of things. And then eventually we started hearing more and more about local wrestling. So we started going to those and doing reports there about it. And that's pretty much the beginning of WFSO.
Yeah, she is actually right, especially just the videos that we did on MySpace, and we can't even find them anymore because of
And
how MySpace is.
what was that other channel that we used as well?
It was Justin.tv.
That
That's
was it. Yes.
yeah, because some of the videos was transferred to like YouTube, and some of the
Right.
videos are still there on YouTube. So
Yeah.
y'all get the opportunity, you can go ahead, check it out. But for those who don't know, like how was Maddie's Memory created?
Okay, so Matties Memory was created after the death of our son. Matthew is our son, and his nickname is Maddie, and he was stillborn on July 28th, 2012. We found out after an ultrasound that his heart had stopped beating. And the next couple of days were a blur, but I remember everything at the same time. And sometimes those memories just hit me like a slap in the face. They're really hard. But when we left the hospital, the information we were given for support was outdated, and I mean severely outdated. The two support groups that were available They had a 6, 7 month waiting list. There was literally no help. We left the hospital with this tiny little hat and a tape measure that had measured how long Matthew was. Um, and there's words that have haunted me since, and the three phrases. One was, "Your baby's dead. There's no heartbeat." That was said by the ultrasound tech in front of our then 12-year-old son. Um,
Right.
and then when I had Matthew, I asked to see him when the chaplain arrived, and the chaplain arrived, and I got told, well, he's going to be cold because we had to keep him in the fridge. That didn't need to have been said. That could have been more tactful. And then when we left the hospital and I asked to see him before we left, I was told, well, we didn't have anything small enough, so we put him in a shoebox. Those words have haunted me from that day till now. Um, and of course, a great deal of suffering. So, October is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. And people got sick and tired of me from October 1st, actually, just flash flooding Facebook and everywhere with pregnancy and infant loss awareness, pregnancy and infant loss awareness. And my sister, who was pregnant at the time, said, you know what, you need to do something. She said, you're not settling right. She said, you need to do something. And she said, well, why don't you do something where you provide hospitals with memory packs so families go home with something? And so that's what we did. And on October 15th of 2012, Matties Memory was born. The name was my sister's name. And for that, I'll be forever grateful because we lost her like December 16th of the same year, um, 12 days after the birth of my niece. So yeah, it was a shitty ass year to be perfectly honest, but that's how Maddie's memory was made.
Right. Are you in contact with the niece right now, or
I haven't been for a while, because her dad, um, he he started a relationship very, very quickly after my sister died. And the
oh,
woman is lovely. He is married to her and everything. But there was a lot of contention as to why he moved on so quick. As in 3 months later, he had moved on. Um, and because of um, one of my brothers causing problems for them, um, my niece's dad, my brother-in-law, kind of stepped away from the siblings, which I understand him doing. I really do. My brother Jake caused so many problems. Um, yeah, I don't want to air that part of the side of things, but just put it bluntly, my brother Jake caused so many problems that my brother in law decided to remove my niece from all of Kayla's siblings, from all of our lives. Um, he's kept me on his friends list, so I do see her. I do see pictures of her and everything, but I haven't spoken with them since like pre-COVID. But I am grateful that he lets me see pictures of her online, and the door's always open that if the day comes that she wants to know more about her birth mom, because she does refer to her as Mummy Michaela. But then the woman who's been raising her for the past 12 years to her is mommy, which is perfectly understandable. Don't get me wrong, I have no issues with that whatsoever. I would never forgive my brother for causing that much of a problem that my brother-in-law felt like he had to pull away from us. Um, but yeah, that's just sadly the way things are. And at times family dynamics are really screwed up. So
well, yeah, that's like everybody. Family dynamics is always screwed up, so it's like
right.
just an insane, crazy thing. So, over the years for like Maddie's memory and stuff like that. So, what was it was a lot of things that kept Maddie's memory going and stuff like that. From from being this little thing and like years and years later into this big thing. And so, was there anything that you want to add that that kind of like got like more inspiration to let you keep going with Maddie's memory?
It's not just one thing that gave me inspiration to keep going. It's a lot of different things. It's hearing from a family who received stuff from the hospital, because we always include our business cards. So, when you get a message sometimes from a family saying, thank you so much for we received a burial gown of yours, or we received a memory bag of yours. And it's nice to know there's somebody out there thinking of us. That keeps me going. When a hospital reaches out and says we need more items, that keeps me going. um, when we do events like March of Dimes, and people there remember us, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we remember you from last year, or we remember you from 5 years ago, and we got such and such from you." And then people remember us for turning the bridge pink and blue, and saying, "Thank you to you, you did that, and it helped us honor our baby." And we I had one family last year who said that they saw the bridge pink and blue and didn't realize what it was for, but because it was pink and blue, they said, "Oh, look, the bridges are like to remember our baby." And then they went online to look as to why was it pink and blue, and they saw that it was pink and blue for pregnancy and infant loss awareness. So they then knew, okay, there's a whole group of people out there who are thinking of us and doing these things for us.
Right. So I guess we can talk about the home bridge. That was started like being a condition that we were doing. But before that, we was like in Shorewood, just
Right.
doing that same day. So what we going it's like a part two question. So the first part is like what made you think that you want to do the October 15th event like at Sherwood. So what was the idea of that?
Okay, so October 15th is the International Wave of Light, and it was started
Yeah.
by somebody called Carly Marie, who is a friend of mine in Australia. And she basically thought it would be a great idea if lost families across the world at 7 p.m., whatever time zone you're in, light a candle for 1 hour in memory of our babies. So it casts a 24 hours of continuous light, which is awesome. So we started off with actually just doing events at our home where we would have a board and write babies' names on. Now, bear in mind, in the early days, it was just like 30 names, and then it went up to 50, and then it went up to 100. And then when the list got to like 500 names, we were like, okay. I said, why don't we try doing something at Shorewood? Because Shorewood overlooks the lake. It has this beautiful statue that's lit up. And then it has kind of like this balcony type where you can stand out and look over at the lake. So we started doing it there and reading names there. And then we had another year where we did it by the art museum, and that didn't work out too well because people couldn't get to the area very well because of parking and the such like. So then the following year, I it was the year that the Homebridge started doing these light up events. And I told everybody, I said, everybody needs to email the Homebridge and say you want them to turn pink and blue on October 15th. And they received like 50 emails from people saying, you got to turn pink and blue, you got to turn pink and blue. And the guy reached out to me and he said, like, I'm sorry, this is what we do. We are a nonprofit ourselves and we do charge and it costs this amount of money. And we were like, okay. And he's like, but no, he said, get hold of me next year. We'll work out a way for you to be able to do it. So I got hold of him, like, and it was late, it was July time the following year, and they said, "Yes, we could have the home bridge," and we did this mass fundraiser, if you remember, like, really quickly to get it done,
Yeah.
um, and in the process of doing that, um, the news picked up on what we were doing, and the news actually came through and helped us get the exposure we needed. Then the following year, We sent out letters again to everybody, and the city of Milwaukee actually paid for it, if you remember, because I had the phone call from the mayor's office,
Right.
and they actually paid for the whole thing, which was amazing. Last year, we started the fundraising off early and we got it paid off early, and the same this year. So, this is going to be our fourth year of doing it. But it's
Right.
funny, last year we had to, oh, look at the babies. Last
Yeah.
Last year I had to pre-record all the names because we had nearly 2,000 of them. And as you can attest to, the previous years that I've read the names, I've gotten really sick. So we thought this way, we played it out over a speaker. So all the names were still there. And we gave people who were actually there as well the opportunity to say their children's names because some people hadn't submitted the names yet. So we just said, okay, if everybody, who's here would like to say their child's name out loud so we can honor them before the list of names is read. So people who had just seen us on TV and had seen us on Facebook who had just shown up were then able to do that as well.
Right. So the changing from from Sherwood to the pier or whatever. So and I know you mentioned a little bit of that, but like you said, parking space and stuff like that. So it seems like the pier was a better scenery and get a lot of people, like just a lot of people from year to year. It just grows. So
Yeah, the boat dock is the perfect place because it is one of the designated places for the home bridge. Um, and it does actually make it, you're looking straight on at the bridge. It literally is right in front of you. You can see then the water reflects the colors of the bridge, so you see all of that. And it's funny because we've had cruise ships go through. There was last year was actually a rowing club, if you remember, who were training, who went through. We've had tugboats go through, and they always go through, it seems like at the end of the reading of the names. So it's like the perfect ending to it. But the good point about where it is, it's at the boat dock, which is on South Water Street. The good part about that is that there is parking. There is parking. You're not like, well, where the hell am I going to park? There is parking there. And there's a couple of benches, so we're able to set up things that we have for families because we always make goodie bags. Last year, we actually was given a donation of pizza, which we're going to hopefully go for, again this year. So there
yeah.
was some really good stuff that went on. And that area is just perfect for it. The only complaint I have is because it's right by the lake, it gets cold real quick. So, and it was funny because if you remember, I was like, I don't understand why your sister keeps showing up wrapped in a blanket. And then by the end of it, I'm like, I need your sister's blanket, because it does get cold. So,
Right. So is there like any like sponsors that you just want to think like right at the top of their head or stuff already?
okay. So, the couple of sponsors I do want to thank is the Alana Rose Foundation. They're based out of Madison. The past couple of years, we wouldn't have been able to have got half of what we wanted accomplished without them and their sponsorship. The Wisconsin Grief Coalition because they're one of the ones who is a big thing behind us, and I'm part of them. But we work as a collective to help families all across Wisconsin for it. To all the amazing organizations that help us raise the money and put on the auction, such as the Milwaukee Brewers. Um, there's a company up. Let's hold on before I carry on. Milwaukee Brewers, the Wave, the Milwaukee Admirals. This year, we've also got the Racine County Museum, the Milwaukee Public Museum, and there's a bunch of other smaller organizations and stores that have come forward to help. And without those people and without these sort of organizations, we won't be able to do what it is that we do.
Right. Any sponsors you want to name that if we got so far this year for the homebridge?
We just have the Alana Rose Foundation and Michaela's Grace, which is another one that's based kind of midway between here and Madison. The stuff that's available on our auction, which ends tomorrow at noon, those are all organizations that have come forward to help us as well to raise money to get the extra stuff that we need. And I can list all of I already listed the major ones, but there's Wild and Free Clothing Company, which is up north of us in Dodge County. They're actually a baby loss family run company. Team Oceans is another one, which is a baby loss company that donate this amazing tea set of loose teas and the such like. But we are still looking for major sponsors for the actual event because, there's a lot of stuff that comes up leading up to it that we have to take care of, and we need sponsors for that too.
Exactly. And everybody needs sponsors, and it's just like crazy, trying to get them,
Right.
commit and all that stuff. So it's just crazy. So for people that would like to bid in the auction, what's can you tell like more information, like what they need to do if they want to bid on some
Okay,
items?
they can either find you or me on Facebook or find Matties Memory, and there's a link there for the Matties Memory auction. We have items up there. We got a Potawatomi $100 food and beverage gift card. We have a $100 Quick Trip gift card. We've got tickets to the Milwaukee Public Museum. We have Brewers tickets. We have Admirals tickets. We have Nothing Bunk Cakes, a 10-inch cake gift certificate. Um, there's two Packers overcoat, like they're pullover, almost like hoodies, but they're not hoodies because they don't have a hood, but that type of thing. Um, there's a whole bunch of other stuff. You can go on there, make a bid. The closing is tomorrow at noon. So there's still plenty of time to get it in, and all the money raised helps us with what we do.
Exactly. Also, like with that stuff in she's in the room. So as Mike gonna come in with your tea.
Oh, God bless you, darling. Being by AJ, we're doing it like this because otherwise we get feedback.
Right, so we're like
Poor man's
crossing.
so confused. He
You're
don't
not
know
gonna
who his real mama is right
get
now.
John Cena wins the title, then comes out here and gets knocked the hell out.
Oh yeah, by Randy Orton, yeah.
Like I just won the belt. I'm gonna come out here and get knocked the hell out.
But anyway, so are there like any big moments that in doing the whole like Matties Memory thing? So any big moments that you want to share with everybody?
Well, as you know, AJ, about 3 weeks ago, we received a call from the mayor's office saying that they want us involved in an event that is this Saturday. They want us there because we are one of the biggest loss organizations in Milwaukee County. And they want our feedback in regards to how loss is being represented, and that lot at their event, and for us to be able to reach more people. I've also another one is that May 9th, I'm actually one of the speakers for a breakout group at the Black Birth Symposium. Um, and that's a great honor because it is in regards to Black families. And I was invited there because my voice has carried, and I apparently am liked, which is a really good thing. I am actually co-hosting with my friend Roz. I wanted her to be there because I'm not a faith-based worker. She is. And she's one of the most amazing faith-based workers there are in Milwaukee. So I wanted her to be a part of it just because then we are covering all aspects. Um, Being asked to be the hometown hero for the Milwaukee Admirals.
Yep.
Oh my god. As soon as they started talking about Matthew, I'm trying my hardest, like standing there not to cry, and there's cameras on me, and I'm waving and smiling, and all these cowbells are going off. And for me, that was one of the most like wow experiences of my life. Like, oh my god. Short of that happening at the Brewers or the Bucks, nothing will ever top that. Like, seriously. See, it's making me cry just thinking about it. And then it was funny because as soon as it was done and I came and sat back down, my friend Jolene, who is Maggie's daughter, messaged me and she's like, "You gotta see this." And her friend was at the game and had took a photo of the jumbotron and
Right.
said, "Isn't this Hazel, the one who gave my dress to?" And she's like, "Yeah, it is." So there was people there who knew me. And as you remember, there was a friend of ours from wrestling who was sat 2 rows in front of us who
Right.
passed, and he like tapped me on the shoulder and he said, "It was great seeing you up there. I was so proud to say that I know you." And that's just like, oh my God. And then November, I was honored by the March of Dimes for my contributions to NICU families. And even though I didn't win the award, to be me, just little old me, there's nothing special about me. There really isn't. There's nothing special about me. I'm just a mom who just didn't want her son's death to be for no reason. To be named with these amazing doctors, um, for this award, and even though I didn't win, you saw me. I'm like, I'm taking my sign with me. And when we left, I whipped that thing off of the stage. um, so those are some of the highlights. And for me, the biggest highlight is actually when you and when Robert say that they're proud. I'm sorry, I'm gonna cry.
It's fine. It's fine.
When you two say that you're proud, that's the thing that gets me. And then, when my mom says that she's proud as well. And just recently, um, the World Health Organization reached out for us to be part of this Mother to Another campaign, um,
Right.
about stillbirth and everything. And my story will be out there in regards to World Health Organization, United Nations, and another organization called Oxfam. So it's so huge that those things get out there. It's like it's unbelievable to me.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So, we know that our son right now is currently in the army,
Oh
and
my God, don't, because you can make me cry again. Okay,
well,
carry
yeah,
on.
we're proud of him, and
Oh my God, so proud.
decide, what he decide, do, with his
Right.
life and stuff like that, and get his life in order. So, I know he has like more accomplishments than just joining the army. So, like, what are things that you were proud of when it came to him? Either before you met me, like, what was a lot of accomplishments that he has done?
He graduated nursing college, as you remember, and he didn't tell anybody that he had done it. And he just called me up one day and he's like, "Mom, I wanted you to be the first to know." And we're like, "Oh my God." Um, I was so proud of him for being when he turned me into a football mom, because obviously, we missed what, like 2 games his entire football career. And those 2 games, he's like, "Mom, you are sick. You need to stay home." And it's like, "No, I have to be there." And he's like, "Well, AJ's coming, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Stay home, Mom. You are sick." 'Cause I had stomach flu one time and then I had a really bad cold the other time. Him graduating high school when his high school principal said he won't graduate or ever amount to anything. And I really wish I knew what school she's now teaching at, because I would love to, go up to her and say, "Yeah, he's a nurse and he's also a soldier, so go kiss my ass." You know?
Wait, she's still not in South Milwaukee
Oh,
anymore?
she left South Milwaukee the year after Robert graduated.
Oh wow.
So, um, I would love to know where she went. Then there's just so many smaller things that he, accomplished, growing up. One of the biggest things was the fact that he did graduate high school after everything he was going through. A lot of the school turned against him and were
Right.
a lot of bullying, because for a while we were homeless, and kids can be cruel. And on top of that, they were saying, yeah, if you were my brother, I would die too. And then they would make fun of him for his brother dying. And the school didn't do anything because the kids bullying him were the big guys on the football team. So
Right.
we dealt with a lot of that. But the fact, my biggest pride right now is, him doing what he always wanted to do. Right from when he was a little boy, he wanted to be in the army. He wanted to be a soldier. And that boy right there, that one behind me
Yep.
right
Right behind you.
there,
Yep.
that boy there, um, is a soldier. And yeah, I'll give you guys a quick pic. I can show you this because the rest of his platoon aren't in it, but there you go.
Yeah.
That's my boy. um, so he's just like he's he's just amazing, and he made us a grandparents.
hmm
And his son is just, oh my god, just crazy. We'll just put it that way.
And a bunch of energy. Just yeah.
And he's the light of our lives. I can't imagine our life without him. He's just phenomenal, and I love him so much. Oh my god, he is just, people say that you never heal from the loss of a child, and it's true, you don't. There's always a part of us that is broken because of it. But in Japan, when something is broken, like a pottery item or plate or something, they fix it with gold.
hmm
And they do the same with clothing and stuff. They use gold thread to repair it. And so it's never perfect and it's never the same as the original, but it has this beauty about it in the broken pieces. And for me, Jace is our gold because our hearts were broken still and we were suffering still. But then this little boy came into our lives, and he is that gold that fixed some of the broken pieces. Like the breaks will never go back to how they were before Matthew died, but there's beauty in our loss. I think of all the stuff that we have done since he died, and the changes that we've made and the things that we've been involved with. And we were part of the group that pushed through the Stillbirth Prevention Act. That's a nationwide thing, and we were part of that. um there's all these other things that we've dealt with. We've been given proclamations from mayors and from governors and from
Yeah.
county executives, and this acknowledgement that our babies do exist, and all of those things all together mixed in with my son being this amazing man who is just phenomenal, who I'm so proud of, to our grandson who is just like great, and our daughter-in-law Alyssa, who is, you know, we never get to choose who we want as the parents of our grandchild,
hmm
the other parent. But I can't think of anybody who wouldn't want more than her, because she is just an amazing, amazing mom as well. So I'm proud of the family that we've got, and Matthew is still a part of everything in what we do.
Right. Exactly. Like besides the compliments that you had, like in Maddie's Memory, so we're going to go back a little bit forward, and well, not forward, but backwards, because you are from England. You might have to explain like where you're from in that area.
Okay. So I'm from a little town called Broadstairs, and next to Broadstairs is a little village called St. Peter's, and St. Peter's is the village that I was from. It's a little seaside place on the southeast coast. I'm about 30 minutes north of Dover, to give anybody who knows where Dover is an idea. Um, Dover is where the Channel Tunnel is. That is the train that goes under the English Channel to France. So I'm like 30 minutes north of there by car. I was actually closer to the French coast than I was to London. London was about 90 miles away from us. The French coast was about 25. And on a clear day, you could see straight across the English Channel and see France. So that's where I was from in England.
Right. I know you done some accomplishments like when it comes to school and some other stuff you did. So in a way, Robert kind of followed in your footsteps in a way as well. So you can explain like some of that as well.
Um, I did join the Air Force. That was very short lived due to an injury. But my plan had always been to be an Air Force pilot. And if you bear in mind, I graduated school in 91. That was when I turned 16. So, um, yeah, well, I was coming up for 17. I was 16 and a half, nearly 17 then. And I graduated high enough that I could go straight to Air Force training into their fighter pilot program. And that was what I wanted to do. That was my dream. And as I say, sadly, a knee injury forced me out of that. So I did go to nursing, and that was fun. Psychiatric nursing is an interesting thing. I was working prison level, um, so I met some of the worst that England had to offer. Let's just put it that way. Um, it's not an easy job, psychiatric nursing, especially when you're working men's prison level. It is very difficult. But it was rewarding at the same time. I like the challenges. Um, I was very into sports over there, and I really don't want to go into why I didn't carry on because that I just is nobody's business. Um, that's too personal, and nope, not sharing that. But that journey, did end up leading me to here. We'll just leave it at that.
Right. So besides, because there was things, after you were feeling, upset about, losing Matthew. So, there were some things that me and Robert was trying to get you into. So if you want to explain everybody to about, some some things about that.
Okay, where my love for Milwaukee Bucks came from, we should say.
Yeah.
Hold on, I have to get ready again. All right, we're good. We're good. Yeah, I'm just making sure we're good. All right. So after Matthew died, the Bucks started doing an open house.
Yeah.
And their open house is basically where they do like a training amongst themselves. They have like a little scrimmage going on. And all of these great things. They have like you could buy your tickets, season tickets, and they have sales on normally last season's stuff. They try to sell off really cheap, and they actually normally have some of the giveaway items from the previous season available really, really cheap as well. And so you and Robert were both like, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go. I'm like, I'm not going. We're gonna go, we're gonna go. I'm not going. We're gonna go, we're gonna go. I'm not going. Mom, please. It won't be the same if you don't come. Fine, I'll go. So I went. And it was one place where I could get out the anger and aggression of losing Matthew because we could shout.
Right.
Everybody else is shouting at the same time. So it didn't make a damn bit of difference. You could be angry with what the calls are made on there, and you look around you and it's like, huh, everybody else is shouting too, and it was such a release and so much fun and so enjoyable. And it was the one thing that all three of us were able to do to get out that tensed up feeling we had. But it
Right.
was also the one thing that brought us together because Robert was able to talk to us about that. And then he would say things like, Mom, Matthew would really have liked that if he was here. So it opened up the door to talk to him about Matthew and things like that. And so it was a really good experience. And last year we didn't go to that many games because they didn't have any freaking offers. Like last season was terrible, absolutely terrible for the offers that they had. This year was better, you know.
Yeah.
But it was then the same with baseball. We then started going to baseball games that are doing the same thing. You are boo, you suck, boo,
Yeah.
you know. And then next thing you're like, yay! And the next thing you're like, oh, back, oh, back, oh. And you had all of that going on, and it was great. it was absolutely great, and it was one of those things I would honestly say that the Brewers and the Bucks at that time was the glue that managed to keep us together when so many lost families fall apart. We didn't. It kept us together so far.
Exactly, like just mentioned, like the like basketball thing. So yeah, there's I guess not now, but since they had Damian Lillard, like those deals last season did not go very well. Just put it
Well,
that way.
and the other good thing is that it cemented your relationship a lot more with Robert because there are times that you and Robert will go to a game.
Right.
And it's been like that since he was 12. You guys have had a few couple of games each season where it's just you two, and then the joke of when the new stadium was built, how now we've got the Matthew Jones Memorial section because we always end up in the same place. And then it was funny when my friend came over before she went to her game, and we're telling her the story, and I said, "So what section are you sitting in?" Damn well near the same freaking section that we were in. So it's like, the Matthew Jones Memorial section.
Yeah, because it was either like 214 or 216, but mainly like
Always,
214.
always,
Always. Doesn't matter like what tickets I get, it's always in that section.
yeah.
So yeah, we gonna go back a little bit of wrestling because you did have a brother that actually did some wrestling. So if
I
you want
did.
to talk more about that.
My brother Steve did some wrestling in England. And that was where my first when I first got into wrestling, it was because of my stepdad, because he used to like wrestling, and I'm one of the few people who actually saw WrestleMania 1 when it was live on TV. So I know some of you babies out there are too young to remember that. But as I got older and discovered I had brothers, which is a whole different story for another time, because I didn't know my birth father very well for a while, and then found out I had brothers. And my brother Steve was a wrestler, and wrestled for quite a while. And he wrestled for a couple of promotions that, like Ring of Honor went to the UK, and he wrestled with them while they were over there. You know how they do when they go around the local places and find local stars to, bump up the thing and all that lot. Um,
Right.
and I wrestled with him for a while, and it was the most painful experience of my entire life. It's not easy. Don't do it unless you're willing to get bruised up to the eyeballs. Yeah, it's much more fun watching it on TV. We'll just put it that way. Um, so that was basically it. My brother Steve actually stopped wrestling after his little stint behind bars, shall we say. Uh,
Oh, okay, yeah. I know the story of that one.
so yeah.
What the just for them hold the title for like 24 hours and they just lost?
What, Becky Lynch?
Yeah.
Oh God. All right, carry on.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. But anyway, so I was thinking like what would be the future for Matties Mary in your opinion? Like what would you like to see like things that happen?
I would like for us to be part of a lost convention that, for families, for actual, that is just purely based on loss here in Milwaukee. All of them are outside of Milwaukee. We cease to exist in regards to the lost community. So many people are scared of Milwaukee County, to be perfectly honest, and that's exactly how it feels. So I would love for there to be a lost convention here that we are a major part of. I want us to be able to, hopefully eventually get the funding where we can actually have an office space, a proper office space where we can run out of and host, meetings and like grief support meetings and all that sort of thing. And I just want us to carry on doing what we're doing. I don't want us to get eaten up by corporate drama and corporate bullshit and all this lot. Um, and
You
just
know,
carry on making sure that the families that need help are receiving it.
right, exactly. As we know, Becky just betrayed her valor, so kind of figured that was coming. But anyways, so we was talking about the future, with Maddie's memories. So and with WFSO, you do things like here and there and things like that. So any good memories, with WFSO so far?
Summerfest. I know everything went tits up afterwards, but Summerfest. Nobody will ever take that from us that we were the first local wrestling fed to do Summerfest. No one will ever take that from us, and it was great. And my parents were here, and it was just phenomenal that we had Summerfest. Some of our other shows that we put on were always fun. Some of the radio shows that we did at the
Yeah.
rest events were hilarious. There was a lot of stuff. I can't narrow it down to one thing. There was just so many different things that we did that were just they were just great fun. But what makes it fun is that a lot of it I could do with you, and I love being able to work with you. And I'm hoping that eventually the tide will turn locally where the assholes will be gone and we get a new set of people out there and that fun will return again.
Yeah, majority of them are gone so far, so we just still got a few left.
I know we got a few stragglers left, but
Right. Well, the issue, we know there's issues like with wrestling in Wisconsin, that some people are either they don't want to talk about, or B, they just want to claim like, okay, there's nothing going on. So
mhm.
what do you think are the issues, and do you think is there any hope for wrestling in Wisconsin?
One of the biggest issues locally for us, and I'm just going to speak on what I know locally, is that I didn't know that. Hold on, I didn't know that new Captain America was out to buy on Voodoo today. But anywho,
Yeah, last week.
it was last week.
Yeah.
Oh, I must have been asleep. Um, so I think some of the issues in regards to local wrestling is that there are some people whose egos are bigger than than they actually think they are. We got people walking around thinking they're Vince McMahon, on a
Mhm.
Dollar Tree budget. And they've got the shitty ass attitudes to go with it. The only thing they've got in common with Vince McMahon is criminal records. And the sad part in regards to that is if you don't follow them and follow their rules and, kiss their ass, they will actually blackball you from the thing. And it was local wrestling who went out there and said, I lied about Matthew. And there I was doing it. I said it just to get money and the such like. And that was because I wouldn't invite them to Matthew's funeral. Matthew's funeral wasn't a publicity stunt for everybody. Matthew's
Mhm.
funeral was a private thing for us. They had no business being there. I didn't want anybody else there. And that was, the start of the turning point. And that was actually really pretty freaking sad that that's how it went down. But it is what it is. And I think once those people actually, those people ran out some amazing feds that were going on around here.
Yeah.
There was Rushy Brown's one. His fed was like great. I can't even remember the building he had it in, but I remember they had those metal rafters.
Yeah,
And
I know it's somewhere in West Allis. I know that.
yeah. And then Al had his going on for a while that he ran with TC.
Yeah.
And that was, and all of these ones were getting shut down because there were certain Fed owners who thought that they were better than what they really are and didn't like the competition. So that Fed owner was making up lies saying, oh, there was drugs being used when you know full well that most of your wrestlers were smoking weed and pissing in bottles, you know. So I think once the egos go, it's good. And we're slowly but surely seeing that. But it is taking a time because some of these just don't know when to retire.
Yeah, exactly. They, Marvel said with that Ric Flair retaliation, or not retaliation, but mentality. I
Mentality.
should say. Yeah,
Yeah.
mentality. They'd be like, "I'm never going to retire." Like, oh my god.
And this one particular Fed owner thinks he's all that because he did some spots for Vince when Vince was in town. You ain't special. There's like so many freaking wrestlers out there who have done that. You know what I mean? um it's not just you, how many wrestlers have WWE picked up for being marks in the ring and for doing security work where they're getting thrown out the ring. I mean, it happens every time they're in town. They go around and say, okay, this fed on, we need some of your guys to do this, this, and this. We need some of you guys to do this, that, and that. Happens all the time. You ain't special, seriously. Because if you were that good, Vince would have signed you.
Yeah, that's true. And other Fed owners too. Only did a short stint and didn't come out of nothing in WWE. But that's another subject for another time. But this Fed owner was trying to put his people in like in Ring of Honor, but we saw only one probably last like like a few years, and before the Ring of Honors before AEW bought them. So
Yep.
yeah, that was just insane. But when we said the solution for that, like fixing like wrestling in like Wisconsin, like where everybody should be like working together instead, against each other. But then again, like you said, egos.
Egos is the killer of the business, to be perfectly honest with you. And I know you've got to have an ego to be a wrestler, to do what you do, especially when your character is that way. But it doesn't mean you have to be an asshole 24/7.
Exactly. And it's just sad that, some of them just don't even learn that. And so that's the bad
Right.
part. And your opinion, what would be your solution of fixing, wrestling in Wisconsin?
As I just said, get rid of some Fed owners. Seriously, because that's the only way you're going to fix it. You've got to have it so that some of these Fed owners cannot bully and everything, and the people who that they bully and threaten and everything shouldn't be too scared to go and get it sorted out with the police if necessary.
Right. Because yeah, there are some like there's another company that we miss, and the owner of that one did die like a while back, and you
Right,
know had some collaborations with them, and you
right,
know just sad that that happened. And plus, like the guy was getting bullied off for certain fat owners because of
yeah.
what he was trying to do and stuff like that. That just don't make any sense. But anyways, we can get who were your favorite wrestlers from when you start watching all the way up to now?
British Bulldog, British Bulldog, and British Bulldog,
Oh,
and
that
then
was
favorite manager Uncle Fuji,
oh,
um,
Mr. Fuji.
Jimmy the Mouth Hart.
Oh, Jimmy Hart, yeah, the mouth of the
Yep,
South. Yup.
he was just he was great. Let me think. My mom loved the Rock and Roll Express. Bushwhackers up until I met one of them.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Um, that was pretty much it. Like growing up, because getting WWE in England when it was still WWF and such, like there was some issues with it because of delays, and we didn't have a lot of TV channels, so it was which TV channel could afford it, and so it was like kind of hit and miss as to whether we got it. But when I came over here, Robert's dad didn't like wrestling. He said it was pointless, blah, 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 blah. But then when I got with you, obviously, Hardy Boys were my favorites. I have their tattoo on the back of my neck. And it's really funny that the tattoo for the Hardy Boys is an M and a J, and our son is Matthew Jones. So it's an
Right.
M and a J. So it's like, hold on a minute. Whoa. um, then there's several who I've liked over the years, but Damian Priest I think is wonderful. Drew McIntyre is delicious. Um, R-Truth put his hand on my ass a few years back, so we'll keep with that one. Thank you very much. Well, that was actually more than a few years ago.
Yeah, it
That
was
was
more
when
of
I was
a decade.
that was when I was young and delicious. Now I'm old and saggy. Um, but yeah, there's I would say out of the newer ones, it's definitely Drew and Damian Priest. Yeah,
Which,
that's about it.
yeah, which they both were former champions. So, can get that other question. Okay, I guess we can throw in like one more question because there is more that I can ask, but well, we already talked about the future of Matties Memory. So and plus WFSO is a sponsor of Matties Memory too. Are you thinking of like working with trying to get more sponsors for Matties Memory in the near future?
I would love to have sponsors for Maddie's Memory. I would love it if somebody each month would say, "Hey, we're going to give you $50 each month or $100 each month to help towards everything that you do." That would be a dream. It would help so much, especially with the printing side of things. So I'm getting pinged like every 30 freaking seconds. Um, hold on.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I think it's like um it's really hard for doing the stuff that we do to get those sponsorships, mainly because of where we are. As I said, people in Milwaukee County are overlooked by everybody. We really are. My friend did a fundraiser in February and made $22,000. She's in Madison. We did a fundraiser for the Wave of Light to raise $600, and it took me over a month. That tells you the difference between the areas. If we lived in a suburban area like that, we would make more. So actually finding sponsors is really, really hard. Finding sponsors who want to help what we do is very, very hard. It's still a taboo subject. So I'm trying. I'm seriously trying.
Yeah, we both hope we can get that way. But yeah, one more thing. So where people can find you or can find Maddie's Memory.
You can find me on Facebook. Just type in Matties Memory and look for pregnancy and infant loss logos. They're pink and blue. I've just changed that one recently, so it's not the turtle that we normally have. On YouTube, you can type in Matties Memory or look for Hazel Jones 9. On TikTok, type in Matties Memory, look for the turtle. It says Matties Memory, and then in parentheses, it says Hazel Jones. Instagram, the same thing. Instagram, I'm not that active on. I keep forgetting about Instagram. God bless them. Don't ask me what I am on Twitter or X or whatever it is. I don't know my login details. I'm on there. I don't even know what the hell's going on over there. But the rest of the places you can find me. Or follow this man right here. Hold on. No, that way. There we go. Follow this man right here. And we'll do that because I don't know which side I'm popping up on yours. Um,
Right.
follow him and you can find me through him.
Exactly. So, my beautiful, wonderful wife, I appreciate you being on here, and this probably be the longest I ever done like an interview. Exactly, an hour on the dot. So, we could have gone on, but we're just gonna end it from there. And I appreciate it, and thank you. And the funny thing is, so Wednesday, which is my birthday, she gets to interview me.
I do.
Yeah. So gonna be twisted turns, and tomorrow maybe hopefully I can get a roommate, then try to work out the next Thursday or Friday for something else. So we'll see. And look
So,
at her like, yeah, I'm ready.
oh, I'm ready.
But my dear, appreciate you being on here, and thank you very much.
Much love. Bye. I'm coming out in the living room in a bit.
Okay. Of course, that was a lovely wife, right, ladies and gentlemen. As you said, she told you like look for her on Facebook, YouTube, and all that good stuff. So,
Why, hello there.
and there
I
she
was
is.
just having an interview with you. Look how quickly I got from my location to
But anyways, guys, we appreciate you listening or watching. This will be on Spotify ASAP. So as soon as I'm done here, I'm gonna like put it out there. Also, this will be on WFSO's YouTube page as well. So that would be on like right away. So maybe another surprise. So anyways, brawls going on. Also, this will be on the website as well. Check out the website, wrestlingfanspeakout.weebly.com. Rusev. Oh, there we go. Okay. I wonder if he's gonna come out with somebody. So, the return of Rusev. So, the rumors are officially true. But anyways, so like I said, check out the website, wrestlingfanspeakout.weebly.com. Upcoming events, the meet and greet that we're going to be doing in August. So watch out for more information for that. Also, you can, check out like upcoming events, pictures that we did at Bucks games and also like at wrestling events as well. So get a chance, check that out.
I have to go talk with Uncle Mike.
So, anyways, we appreciate you guys, watching, and thank you very much. Excuse me. Yep, I kind of figured that he was gonna do a heel turn. So
Who?
Rusev,
Oh,
yeah, he returned. But anywho, um, sorry guys, appreciate it. We will be on here tomorrow. Time will be determined. So we appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. Until the next video, you guys have a good one and see you later. Well, y'all probably gonna see me later on today. Because after all, we're gonna do WFSO aftermath as well. So special edition, watching the Raw at the Mania and stuff like that. So until then, y'all have a good one. See you later.